become librarian. The librarian didn't send even from one, apart from the address. And I sent in the text that I don't know that.
The watch shadow clock.
Good morning, everybody. Dear Vice Chancellor, welcome. Members of the Committee on Orientation for fresh postgraduate students, welcome. We are about 5 minutes behind the schedule. Then we will go on. We will start with an opening prayer. Professor Mrs. Chioma Anosike will lead us in opening prayer.
In the name of Father, Son, Almighty Father, of life. We thank you, Father, for this day. Thank you for the gift of life, for the gift of life. We thank you for today. Today we have gathered to give orientation our fresh postgraduate students. We thank you, Father, for the organization of this program. We thank you for a great institution, the University of Nigeria. We thank you for the leaders. Thank you for the students. Our Father, as we have gathered this morning for this education, we ask for your direction. We ask that all the activities of today will be to your glory in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
We thank you, Father, and we ask, O Lord, that our fresh students are postgraduate students. Father, as they have come into this institution to gather knowledge, to be trained in character and in learning, we ask that their stay in this institution, we ask to their learning, we add to their lesson. That at the end of the day, they will come out better persons for the society and for their own glory. All this we pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Professor Anosike, for that beautiful prayer. The first thing we have here is the address by the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies. You have, okay. So we will take the national anthem. And thereafter, we'll take the University of Nigeria anthem too. That will herald us into what we are here for. Thank you for the national anthem and our beautiful university song. I once more welcome us again to our 2019-2020 fresh postgraduate students orientation, holding this year virtually. The next thing we have here is the address by the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies. And I'll take that straight away. A welcome address presented by the Acting Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, Professor Roman Usi Ezra-Okonkwo, on the orientation program for the 2019-2020 fresh postgraduate students holding virtually today, the 31st day of August 2021. The Vice Chancellor, sir, ably represented by Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Urama, all Deputy Vice Chancellors, all Principal Officers of the University of Nigeria, Deans of Faculties, Directors of Centers and Institutes, Heads of Departments, Units, all teaching and non-teaching staff of the University of Nigeria, my dear postgraduate students of the University of Nigeria, Lions and Lionesses, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, I warmly welcome you all to the rather belated 2019-2020 orientation program organized for our fresh students. Permit me to apologize on behalf of the School of Postgraduate Studies for organizing this program much later than it ought to be. The COVID-19 pandemic, which has been ravaging the entire globe since early last year, is partly responsible for the delay. I humbly enjoin you to relax, pay great attention, and savor the 2019-2020 orientation program as packaged. May the good Lord guide you throughout your stay in this great citadel of learning. The School of Postgraduate Studies mandatorily organizes annual orientation programs for the fresh students with the sole aim of acquainting them with the requirements, regulations, and working of the School of Postgraduate Studies to enable them undertake a successful graduate study here at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. The program normally starts with orientation at the department, through the faculty, and finally at the university level. We had that in the department and the faculty yesterday. We are doing the faculty university level one this morning. Interactions at these levels hopefully prepare the students for a robust, seamless, and successful postgraduate education in the University of Nigeria. One thing you must do at the onset is to obtain, read, and imbibe thoroughly the regulations guiding your studies here at the School of Postgraduate Studies. The 76-page booklet containing the regulations is here often referred to as the Bible of the School of Postgraduate Studies. This small booklet will acquaint you with what is expected of you as you embark on your study here. For ignorant of the law, they say it's not an excuse. But you need to read these regulations and know the do's and the don'ts on the onset. Having been here for a while in your various programs of study, I'm sure you are now in a better position to ask questions and seek clarifications on things that challenge you as a postgraduate student here. The University of Nigeria, being one of the first generation universities in Nigeria, prides itself as one of the foremost universities in Nigeria and indeed Africa. In fact, the brand name is superb and is highly sought out for all over the globe. Postgraduate studies at the University of Nigeria dates back to 1991. Our products are presently leaders and captains of industry, great entrepreneurs, political leaders, successful scholars, and sound academics of international standard. In fact, very recently, the University of Nigeria and Nsukka is ranked first in research in Nigeria. We are poised to sustain these heights through our postgraduate training. You really have made a good choice to come here for your postgraduate studies. I congratulate you for being here. To keep to and sharpen the mission and vision of the University of Nigeria in general, and the School of Postgraduate Studies in particular, we have continued to innovate and improve on the existing programs and curricula to meet with the international best practices on postgraduate education. To that effect, we recently introduced an entrepreneurship workshop, which is compulsory for all postgraduate students. I encourage you to take advantage of this workshop to sharpen the way you think and to do certain things differently for your economic emancipation. Be rest assured that the management of the School of Postgraduate Studies is ever ready to serve you better. We're prepared to ensure you have a very rewarding and seamless postgraduate education here. And more importantly, that you graduate on a record time. Once more, I warmly welcome you to the University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and more importantly, to 2019-2020 orientation program. God bless you all as you participate actively on the well-packaged orientation program. Thank you. Having done with the welcome address by the Dean of School of Postgraduate Studies, we'll invite the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by our own Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Orama, present Vice Chancellor's address. So, Vice Chancellor.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here this morning to represent the Vice Chancellor at this opening ceremony of this year's orientation program. He would have loved to be here personally, but because of many other activities, one of them being a national meeting going on currently. And so he has sent me and given me his words to say. And so what you'll be hearing will be the voice of the Vice Chancellor. I'm only here carrying his words. And so this is an address by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles Arizechukwu, on the occasion of the online orientation program organized by the School of Postgraduate Studies for the 2019-2020 fresh postgraduate students held today, August 31, 2021. Principal officers of the university whom have joined this meeting, the Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, other deans of faculty and directors of institute and center, the Associate Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, the chairman of the organizing committee, and all the members of the organizing committee, other invited speakers and resource persons, our distinguished professors, heads of academic and administrative units, distinguished academics, old and new postgraduate students, ladies and gentlemen, great lions and lionesses. I am pleased to welcome all of you to the third edition of our special orientation program for fresh postgraduate students. The first of its kind took place last 2 sessions. The orientation program is an innovation that is in line with accepted international best practices. It is consistent with the vision of the current university administration to reposition our postgraduate programs for global competitiveness through timeliness, excellence, and ethical conduct. Invariably, this will impact the research output and citation base of the university as we strive to maintain and improve on the enviable position of the university in webometric ranking. Ethical orientation in both lifestyle and research is imperative in our quest to produce graduates that will compete favorably and excel anywhere in the world. Therefore, we hope to inculcate in you the requisite ethical standard for success in every sphere of life. Moreover, this orientation program will acquaint you with the necessary procedures and regulations that govern the pursuit of postgraduate study in the University of Nigeria, with a view to ensuring that you register and graduate as and when due. This will help you to evade unnecessary delays and other indices of poor performance. You will need to understand and work with timetables for lectures, examinations, and specified periods for arrival of external examiners. In consideration of our commitment to the transformation of the University of Nigeria into a research-oriented institution, we have equipped the university library with many relevant resources and databases that will help to improve the conduct of research by our students. In addition, modern information and communication technology tools have been made available in the university to enhance teaching and research. Therefore, we expect high-quality research results from your projects and theses. Most of the university has subscribed to the use of Turnitin software to check plagiarism and encourage originality in research output. The research results of our postgraduate students should be publishable in reputable impact factor rated journals. This is similar to what obtains in world-class universities around the globe. Finally, I urge you to pay careful attention to the talks that will be presented by carefully selected speakers and resource persons in the course of this orientation program. Their knowledge, experience, and expertise will put you on the path of success in the pursuit of excellence in your postgraduate study. As I warmly welcome you, I hereby declare the 2019-2020 Postgraduate Students Orientation Program open. Have a wonderful time. Professor Charles Arizechukwu, Vice Chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for the address. I believe our teaming listeners have listened carefully to 5 wordings of that address. Thank you so much.
So that was the address by the Vice Chancellor. And I'm now talking my capacity as the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. I've been given a topic that says global impact through postgraduate study and research. And I just want to say a few more words, because if we listen carefully to the address by the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, and the address by the Vice Chancellor. We would have actually appreciated the fact that the program is tailored towards having, having programs that are globally competitive. It's tailored towards meeting the global best practices in terms of study, in terms of research, in terms of publications. Well, as a university, there may still be some shortcomings or challenges, but we are aware of it and we are working on it to ensure that at the end of the day, what you get and what we produce will be able to boast that it meets the best standards, the global best practices. And I'm sure that all of you in coming here for a postgraduate program, before you applied, something must have motivated you, something must have propelled you. You may have a reason for coming. And I'm sure that one of the reasons will be to improve upon your academic standards, academic knowledge, your exposure, and all the rest. And we are in a time, in a period where we operate more like a global village. And so the expectation is that with the preparations you are giving here in course of your study, that you'll be well equipped to operate in any other part of the world, in any other institution. And that is one of the reasons, if you're listening to the address by the Dean and that of the Vice Chancellor, the university encourages students to do quality research that is publishable in the top journals in your discipline. We talk about impact factor rated journals. Of course, for PhD students, you would have known, or you will discover that is one of the requirements for you to get a PhD from the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And if I may get referred to the address by the Dean, he mentioned the fact that this university is rated #1 in this country in terms of research. And of course, the research is that comes about from the contributions of the staff and students, our research output. And so the program aims to equip you so that you play at the highest level. Just like when some of us are passionate about soccer in this country. And if you're in soccer and your aim is just to play in local leagues, then I'm not sure the person has really started. A good player will be working towards playing in the highest possible level. And that is what we also want to achieve through our postgraduate studies, so that our students will be able to play at the highest possible level. We know that even in some institutions, master's degree programs are done in 1 year. And of course, we used to be 1 year in this university. But we felt that the 1 year may not be enough to give us all the necessary preparations and exposure we need. And that is part of the reasons why the minimum for a master's degree here is 18 months. And so that you take the first year to do most of your coursework and take the other one to be prepared to do research and to do actual research. We know, we expect that many of our students on graduation here, maybe completion of their master's degree, they may want to apply for positions overseas. And the situation, you are competing with people from other parts of the world, and all of them having master's degree. There must be something that will give you an edge, something that will distinguish you, mark you out. And that is the publications you have. That's because if you are just if you just have your master's degree and there are hundreds of you with master's degree certificates, it's the publications you have that will give you an edge. The same thing with our PhD students. Maybe you want to do a bench work, you want to go for a postdoctoral, and even what you do after your PhD. And so we expect that the training and the equipment will be such that our students are well prepared to make global impact. The lecturers themselves, of course, we don't need to tell you, but all the people that supervise PhD are people who are making global impact in their fields, who are, experts in their fields with evidence in reputable publications. And they are meant to mentor you so that you also be able to do the same. And so I just want to encourage us. It would have been good because this is actually meant to be interactive. If this would have been a physical meeting, I really didn't need to talk much. It would have been better to interact, to hear from you, to know your expectations and know the areas. At least you've been here for a year or a year plus, because this would have been done when we just started for COVID intervention. And so by now, many of you are already familiar with our system, with our university environment, and you may have some questions, you may have some issues. I don't know whether there are actually provisions, okay, so maybe since I have like 20 minutes or so, maybe I'll just leave the rest of the time in case there are questions, so that, there are so many hands up already. Are there people who have questions? So maybe let me just stop here so that I can take within the available time, let me take some questions. So let me stop and hand over to the moderator so I can direct.
You recognize them? Just recognize them.
First one, right?
Yeah.
Can we?
If you can take one or two.
Okay. They're jumping. No questions.
They're raising their hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can be asked.
Okay. Chibuko Honoris. Can you take your question? Can we take your question? Go on. Unmute yourself and talk.
You don't have what you're here.
Hello.
Chibuko, I hope you can hear us. You can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and speak.
You're on now. Go on.
Okay, I appreciate this program. My question is this impact factor issue. The little knowledge I have about it is more on the scientific aspect of research. How is it tailored to take care of the dynamics of the educational aspects of research? Thank you. Am I heard?
Yeah, sorry. Can you explain more what you mean by educational aspect of the research?
When it comes to research and the dynamics of research, in the scientific, they have the more of a quantitative than of qualitative. But in the educational aspect, we give attention to being a social issue that we may not critically quantify per se, even though we still use quantitative data. How is this?
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, when we are talking about top-rated journals, when we talk about impact factor journals, of course, it's not only in the area of sciences. There are top-rated journals in every discipline. The way well, if I start here, I know there have been issues about impact factor in some disciplines. I know there are areas like somebody publishing in languages, for example. Maybe you wouldn't expect the topmost journals in America or Europe to publish some of their works because it doesn't make meaning to them. But at least even locally, even if you publish it, there are journals that are well reputed in Nigeria that publish such articles. So we are just talking about, reputable journals. There are, let me just tell you this story. I don't know, like when I was doing my postgraduate studies, of course, there wasn't any much noise about impact. In short, people were not talking about impact factor journals. But the area I did my PhD work is such that in Nigeria, we're only two in that area. And so I didn't even do the research work. I had to travel to South Africa. And so when I was doing the work, my interest was publishing something that somebody else will read and be able to find it useful and make reference to it. So at that start, I didn't actually publish in any journal in Nigeria. Not that they're not good enough, but if I publish it, maybe Nigeria Institute of Physics Journal or wherever, I'll be the only one to read it. So I was looking for journals at least where people read it, and it makes my day. Any day I come back and see somebody citing my journal. And so we are just talking about publishing, playing at the highest possible level where experts play. If you publish your works where experts publish, and the people will know what you are doing, and that's what we're talking about, making a global impact. If you do something and it only ends up maybe with you and the publisher, then it has not made any impact. So we are not talking about a particular work of research, but in any field, in any area, you need to play at the highest level so that people will know you, people will know what you are doing, and that way you'll be able to make a contribution to knowledge. Maybe the dean have, I don't know if the dean has something to say.
I think the Deputy Vice Chancellor, who are giving the talk, has addressed this question. Whether the research is quantitative or qualitative, what we're after is the outcome of that research. The university emphasizes the fact that you need to publicize this worldwide. It's not a local thing. Academia is not local, it's an international thing. A sense of targeting the top-rated journals. Let's use that word top-rated instead of impact factor, because it may connote a different meaning to some people. I'm talking about the topmost of the journals in the world, where other scientists or researchers will read your work and rate the university accordingly. So we encourage you to do a good research that will attract such journals to publish your papers. You're welcome.
Thank you, DVC, and thank you, Dean. I'd also like to have a list of those top journals to be posted.
Okay, work with your supervisor in your field. He will give you the top-rated journals in your field.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, maybe let's hear, I don't know how much time we have.
Just take one person more.
Or Mej Abraham Friday. You can unmute yourself. If it's not there, can Okeke Bernard? Yeah, okay. I don't measure Okeke Bernard. Just unmute yourself and talk. And this will be the last so that can come. Well, yeah, the rest can write, send their questions online. Maybe using the chat.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, okay. There's also.
volume.
Hello.
Speaker, I'll come up with the address by the school secretary, deputy registrar, on issues of the revised postgraduate regulations and Anthem. Mr. Odrogo, with the officer of the school of postgraduate studies, is standing for the deputy secretary at the current in the school.
Presented an address issues in postgraduate regulations and timetable of events of the School of Postgraduate Studies. Being a paper presented at the online presentation program organized for first-year students admitted in 2019-2020. On behalf of the Deputy Registrars, the Deputy Director, and Secretary, School of Postgraduate Studies. Also the course itself. The University of Nigeria ranks among the first generation universities in Nigeria that are required to enroll postgraduate and undergraduate students at the ratio of 6:4. The University of Nigeria has been designated a research university. So this effect, postgraduate studies are given top priority, and as research focus on national development. The University Administration is taking steps to reposition the postgraduate program of the university for global competitiveness. In pursuit of this objective, the School of Postgraduate Studies considered it needful and appropriate to organize orientation for all postgraduate students admitted in the 2019-2020 academic session. Orientation is an enlightenment effort which is expected to guide and motivate fresh postgraduate students to perform at the expected highest level in learning and research. The reason is to minimize cases of debate in graduation, failures, and mistakes due to lack of information and proper mentoring. The school also draws up a timetable of events, which is specifying her academic activities for the sessions and days of the event. The timetable of events is meant to ensure that all who have roles to play in postgraduate studies have enough information on the activities of the School of Postgraduate Studies. The role of the School of Postgraduate Studies. The school was established to coordinate and facilitate the execution of a postgraduate program of the university. Among other functions, the school, as a quality control unit, monitors the implementation of the postgraduate regulations of the university, departments, and other academic units and individuals involved in the running of postgraduate programs in order to ensure the output of highly qualified manpower for other tertiary institutions, research institutes, and industry within and outside Nigeria. Vision and mission statement. Since the inception of the School of Postgraduate Studies as a semi-autonomous unit, Senate has approved several postgraduate studies regulations as recommended by the board of the school. The regulations are meant to facilitate the realization of the vision and mission statement of the School of Postgraduate Studies. Vision statement. through research and innovation to become a globally reputed first-rate school of progress studies. Mission statement: to attract, educate, train, and transform qualified persons to high-level manpower that are thoroughly equipped with adequate and updated knowledge and specialized skills in research and innovation. Postgraduate Studies Regulation. The Postgraduate Studies Regulation of the University of Nigeria is a book which contains a systematic documentation of all the Senate approved guidelines for running the approved postgraduate programs of the university. Faculties, departments, institutes, and centers in the university offer a wide range of postgraduate programs, leading to the award of postgraduate diplomas, master's degrees, and doctorates. The regulations also contain the guidelines for the award of higher doctorates, such as Doctor of Science, Doctor of Literature, etc. The provisions of the regulation specify the general guidelines for handling all issues of progress studies and the role of every key player in the implementation of regulation, namely faculties, departments, institute centers, supervisors, external examiners, School of Progress Studies students, etc. The revised Progress Studies Regulation. The first edition of the Progress Studies Regulation was published in the year 1992-93 academic session. Attempts made to revise the regulation since that time were not realized until 2015, when the second edition was put into circulation. The third edition, which is the current edition of the revised regulation, were realized 2018. The revised regulation provides guidelines to all who are involved in the running of progressive programs to ensure that students complete their program satisfactorily in the shortest time possible. The regulation aims at increasing the scope of research skills of students and their research output in line with the national research policy. The revised progress studies regulation also contains the National University Commission benchmark standard, DMAS, for progress studies in Nigerian universities. Contents of the postgraduate regulation. The postgraduate regulation contains matters relating to the following: membership of the board and functions of the school, method of application for postgraduate admission, registration processes, examination processes. Others include attendance at seminars and lectures, change of progress programs, channel of communication, preparation of copies of projects to thesis, guidelines for evaluation of departments, departmental preparedness to mount progress programs, general guidelines for assessment of project and thesis, grading system for programs, notification of examination, nomination and appointment of internal and external examiners. Issues in progress studies, admission and registration, entry requirements. These are clearly stated in the regulations and in their function. In the new NUC guideline, master's degree with 4 points GPA or 60 points average is required for admission into the PhD program. full-time, part-time, or sandwich program. Note that for PGD, only students can only register for full-time or sandwich program. Mode of study. For PGD and master's degree, it is coursework and project. And for PhD, it is coursework and thesis. Project and thesis shall be orally defended with external examiner participating. Registration. Every postgraduate student shall continue to renew registration at the beginning of every academic session until he or she graduates. Such student is also expected to pay the fees for the new session. Duration of program and minimum residential requirement. There are minimum and maximum duration of each postgraduate program. The minimum duration is the minimum residential requirement. Examination. Examination fees. The examination fees for masters and PhD students have been removed from the session's fees. The examination fee is to be paid at the point of examination. The minimum pass grade for all postgraduate courses and projects is 50% or C grade. In all postgraduate courses and projects, grades D, E, and F are failed grades. The GPA required for the award of master's degree is 3 points. PhD thesis oral examination remains either pass or fail. However, the examiners usually affix, after the PhD oral examination, a grade. This is used to determine for those to be awarded prizes. The PhD student is expected to make at least an average of 50%. Completion form or form for entry into examination. 3 months to the end of the program, the student shall complete and submit form for entry into examination, SBGS Form 6. The supervisor and the head of department shall certify that the candidate has completed the required coursework and project or thesis. In the course of PhD, with effort from 2015-2016 session, the candidate shall also have attended at least 1 national or international conference, published in at least 1 national or international journal, and has completed the minimum period of study. The professor shall certify that the candidate has fulfilled the financial regulations of the university. Submission of duly completed completion form signifies the end of the program and the end of payment of fees. Attendance at lectures and seminars. For all postgraduate students, attendance at seminars and lectures is mandatory. 70% of attendance at lecture is also mandatory for students who have registered for taught courses. Approval of title of thesis. Before oral PhD examination is conducted, the title of thesis must have been approved by Senate. Oral examination of PhD thesis. Regulation 39(3) provides, among other conditions, that for a PhD thesis to be approved, at least an acceptance letter in any impact factor index journal approved by the university for promotion is required. In addition, the student shall show evidence of attendance and presentation of paper in a national or international conference in his or her field. Missing examination. Any student who misses a coursework examination shall register the course and retake the examination at the next opportunity. If a student misses project report examination, he or she shall wait till the next opportunity or bear the full cost of the examination. Postgraduate diploma program. The classes of pass in postgraduate diploma are distinction, credit, merit. Ordinary pass in postgraduate diploma is no longer being awarded. Correction of thesis and projects. This shall be done within 90 days from the date of the examination, as stipulated in page 51 of the regulation, without which the student will be required to pay fees for the session and represent his or her work for oral examination. Receipt examination. There is no supplementary examination. Any student who faces course, project, or thesis shall re-register for it, run it for at least one semester, and thereafter be examined in it again. Review of examination script, project, or thesis. A student agrees about the grading of his or her examination script, project, or thesis may petition the Dean, School of Progress Studies, for appropriate section. This is stipulated in section 54 of the regulation. Plagiarism test. Plagiarism test shall be run on the project or thesis before approval. Other issues. Repetition of courses passed with low grade. This is not allowed. Re-registration and repetition of a program. A master student who makes a GPA below 3 points may be allowed on application to re-register and repeat the program. Withdrawal from program. A candidate can withdraw from program based on the following reasons: academic reasons, disciplinary withdrawal, voluntary withdrawal, or health ground. Channel of communication to the School of Progress Studies. All matters of postgraduate studies, including application for change in postgraduate program, coming from a postgraduate student, shall be addressed to the Dean, School of Progress Studies, and passed through the head of department and the Dean of the Faculty Postgraduate Studies Committee for appropriate action. Thank you and best wishes.
Well, you've had the Secretary of PD School, ably represented by Mr. Jobo, the head of admissions unit. Mr. Jobo, thank you for that well-read address. We move on. The next we have here is a keynote address, the main menu by Professor Ike Ernest Onish. But before then, let me welcome our librarian, who Nicodemus kind of. Sorry, moving when we just came in and we didn't notice that when the division was making an address. You're welcome, man. Welcome. At the right time, the entire student population will see you online. Dr. Mrs. Ilo. So, Professor Onish, please come over and hit the road. So, thank you. You're welcome.
It's sharing. The patrol can also. We will share. Okay. The Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria. The Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Nigeria. Principal officers of the university present and also connected to this webinar. Distinguished professors, colleagues, and lions and lionesses. It's really my privilege to present to you this morning a keynote on leveraging international best practices for postgraduate study and research in the University of Nigeria. I'm happy that we started this morning with an address presented by the Dean of the Postgraduate Studies, And in that address, he has touched on some of the things we'll be discussing here. The issue is that we want to refocus the university, and that has started also yielding dividend in terms of quality of teaching and quality of research. As has continued to put University of Nigeria as the first research university in the country and one of the top. Yes. Okay, no problem. We shall put University of Nigeria as top research university in the country and one of the best in Africa. So based on that, we have also continued to emphasize postgraduate training, which is actually the core of research development in every university in the world. So for today, we'll start by looking at starting a postgraduate program at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And I'm also happy that the Secondary School of Postgraduate Studies have also touched on that. We're also going to discuss supervisors as mentors and also the role of mentees. And we're also going to narrow down to conducting postgraduate research and the issue of ethics in doing quality research in the university. We're also going to discuss briefly on conference attendance as a postgraduate student and publishing research, possibly with your supervisors and other colleagues and other mentors. Okay, postgraduate program at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. So, okay. Because I'm not connected, I can't use the cursor, sorry. So no problem, just be more attentive. Yeah, no problem. I know, it's on there. Okay, sorry. Postgraduate program at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. All programs, as earlier said by the Secretary to the School of Postgraduate Study, will involve both coursework and research projects. Earlier before now, most of PhD programs do not involve coursework, but since over 2-3 years, all programs, including doctorate programs, will involve element of coursework, though the percentage may differ between PhD and masters, and also the type of masters you are pursuing. So all postgraduate students are expected to spend a minimum of 3 semesters. Master's program 3 semesters and PhD program 8 semesters. Postgraduate students are also expected to attend at least 70% of the required lectures or seminars before they are allowed to sit for examination. They are also expected to submit a complete research work at the end of their programs, including those running postgraduate diploma, at least a long essay to show that you have ended the program with a research work. As I said, for master's project, for PhD thesis. PhD students are also required to attend conferences before they are allowed to sit for final examination, and recently to publish their part of their project in a University of Nigeria approved impact factor journals. And I think that has been mentioned by the Vice Chancellor and as well as the Secretary of the School of Postgraduate Studies. And your department and your supervisors will help you to identify this kind of journals where you're supposed to publish your work before you graduate. There are a few of them within the country, but the majority of them are offshore. What it means that there are journals, top journals, you have major areas of study. That's why you should be targeting to publish this work. And we assume that if you do a good work, it will be easier to publish that work. Then before we start, we're going to look at what we expect from you as postgraduate students. There are some positive, desirable attitude we expect for you to have or to acquire or to strive to acquire as we run this program. And there are many, but inexhaustive, but I'm just going to mention a very few of them. In terms of inquisitiveness, You really need to search. You really need to be so excited about what you are doing. So what it means is that everywhere you are looking for knowledge, in your library, around the street, everywhere. You should also be enthusiastic. As you can see, the attrition rate for coursework is very low, but for project work is very, very high, not only in this university, but almost across the world. Because for coursework, people are guiding you to complete the work. But for project, it appears to be independent. So meaning that you needed to be enthusiastic about what you want to do here. Else you just finish your coursework and disappear. And the University of Nigeria will not be looking for people who complete their coursework because they add nothing to us. But those who complete their project and are awarded a degree. You also be going to be innovative, especially now that we're demanding a lot from you, especially for doctorate students who are expected to publish their work in top journals. No journal on earth will publish things that are not very innovative. And as you journey in academics, you begin to understand that you cannot publish any work that you are not the first to do. There's always one portion in every publication where you say, this is the first work. It may not be the first work that started dealing with anything in that area, but the first work doing it in a particular way. If it is not, it may not be published in top-tier journals. You should also be open to feedback. I'm sure that most postgraduate students get frustrated when they see the red biros, almost all the pages canceled by the supervisors, especially at the beginning of the program. That's actually the feedback that we expect from every postgraduate supervisor. Don't take this thing so seriously. They're part of the learning process. You are going to see more of them, but they continue to reduce as your project progresses. So by the end of the program, you may have no single red biro in your book, and you are satisfied that you have done something great. Innovation, creativity, I've talked about. You're also going to have and think of beginning to have quality relationship with your supervisors and others. Some of you are going to spend 8 semesters, that's close to 4 years. What does that translate to? That are going to be spending quality time with us here. What it means that you must learn how to live with us. And that means learning to relate with your supervisors. We're not saying that you are going to be maids to your supervisors who are going to carry their bags. Even if their bags are heavy, they better bring to school bags they can carry. We're not expecting to carry their bags, but they expect you to respect them, expect you to build quality relationship that will last beyond your postgraduate training. Because we realize that that may become your major, how do I put it, in future, the major people you are going to work with, including your colleagues within the postgraduate school, they become in future your colleagues, your work partners, and the people. So what it means that this is a beautiful time to develop these relationships. If you do not do that, it's not likely that you're going to complete your programs if you don't develop such quality relationship. It's not only here in this university, but everywhere in the world. Many people do not complete their studies, not because they are not intelligent, but because they do not develop quality relationship with people that matters. Yes, we are not expecting our supervisors to treat you unfairly, but we also expect you to respect them a lot. So that's just about that. Painstaking attitude is very important. You can be intelligent, you can also do good research work, but you can mess them up if you are not very painstaking, including not writing your names correctly, writing the names of university correctly. Sometimes you can frustrate external examiners and you can begin to fail from that. Love of books is the beginning of it. You must know every book in a library. This is the time to do that. You may not have any other opportunity in your life to know more than at postgraduate level. Then proactiveness, very important. You need to be proactive. You need to work ahead of time. You need to really take these things as we are here more seriously as we progress. So that's very, very important. Sometimes you are asked to finish maybe a coursework before you start your project, but you may start to think about your project even when you are doing your coursework. Some of you who are involved in internship, for example, expected to finish your internship maybe before you start your project. But the smart ones will start doing something before as they're doing their internship. You can learn a lot, and that's just being proactive. So, okay, next slide. So, if you can't do anything
you must keep busy as a postgraduate student. There's no idle moment for a postgraduate student. I usually say that postgraduate training is a kind of, if you are doing a 3 semesters, it's a 3 semester of imprisonment. What does that translate to? You don't do the things you like to do. You don't attend the parties you wish to attend. You reduce the number of barriers you attend. If they're not so related to you, you keep them off. There's time for everything. More people will die after your postgraduate training, so you have time to attend those things. And more birthdays will also occur after your postgraduate training, and you have time to attend that. But for that time, you cut off. And those sacrifices to make that particular period in your career will gain as you finish. And you may also have time to spend the whole year attending parties and all sorts of things without doing much. And your bank account may also be going on as you do that. But this is the time to keep busy. Please do not fail this one if you fail others. Okay. Mentorship. Supervisors as mentors. I will quote God 2014. So choosing your career path is a difficult one. Doing it on your own is even more difficult. Having someone to talk to and share your concerns, challenges, ideas can be extremely beneficial. That's what why we need mentors. It's easy to navigate, but it may be easier to navigate with someone. And that's why we really emphasize, please, can you go on? Why we emphasize that at this level, you really need to be mentored. So who is a mentor? Mentor is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning in order that they may maximize their potential, develop their skills, improve their performance, and become the person they want to be. So what will the mentor be doing? The mentor helps the mentee to find the right direction and develop solutions to academic issues. In academic careers, we typically have several options, but choosing from these available options could as well be tasking. So leveraging on the experiences of mentors can help mentees to navigate through these challenges. So it's really important for all of us to trust these mentors that have had experiences. They have done, most of the people you are dealing with, if you are doing a doctorate, some of them have done it about 10 years, 20 years ago. They have experienced those things you're experiencing now. So they may have a lot of experience. They've also supervised many other people who have different types of problems. So by the time you are coming with your problems, it will fit into one of the templates that have already dealt with. So it becomes easier for you to navigate. So the issue is, if somebody has known how to do something, why do you reinvent the wheel? Why not just follow the person who is more knowledgeable than you to help you pass through those challenges in this almost typical way? Okay. Move on. But as a mentee, you have also your own role to play. You really need to allow yourself to be mentored. In as much as I appreciate that we may have very few senior academics here that will go the extra mile to have that deliberate plan to mentor the young ones. Most often, we do not allow ourselves to be mentored. Most of us begin to become boss in our first year of school. Some of us, maybe as we're progressing up, maybe for PhD students, maybe you have successfully published one article in a very good journal from your master's. And because of that, you assume that your supervisor, who may not have published in that particular journal, is stupid and hopeless. In as much as we believe that we have the skills and intelligence to do a lot of things, you may not know what a mentor does. You may have written, for example, a 20-page article, and the mentor just, in the first 2-3 pages, did just 1 or 2, 3 marks. Remove this, add this. You may not know that that single instruction may lead to publication, acceptance and publication of that journal. They know what it takes. They know what annoys editors. They know what annoys external examiners. And what you say, don't do that. And you assume that that little thing didn't change it. That single act may have turned around that project or that article. And that's why we needed really to mentor ourselves. If intelligent, yes, it's okay. But what will you lose if you also join the little intelligence of your supervisors? You add more. And that's actually what it means. to allow yourself to be mentored. And I just end with an Igbo adage that says that it is the responsibility of a child that is being fed to bring his mouth or her mouth closer in order to be fed. And what does that mean? In as much as you have mentors there, it's still left for you to do your own job. You need to make yourself amenable for supervision or whatever. And I also know that supervisors and mentors also like those who are easier to mentor. Nobody likes a difficult mentee. And I think we can do that here. I'm sure that we don't have much challenges. Experiences so far in the University of Nigeria don't show that we have so much difficult mentees. So we're hoping that this group of categories of students that are joining us in 2021 will also be like others. Please follow others who have made us proud to make us proud one more time. Then in conducting your research, I would not like to end here without talking about conducting your postgraduate research. The focus of this keynote is not on teaching you on research methods. You have a lot of other things. You have to teach lecturers, you have other experts in your area of specialization that will teach you research methods. We also have a program for that PG School also organizes on research methods. This will be given to you. So my focus here is narrowing down on research ethics. So ethics is concerned with systematically understanding, analyzing, and distinguishing between bad, what is wrong, good, and what is right in human acts, between what is desirable and what is not, what ought to be encouraged and what ought to be discouraged. And this is very important for us in conducting quality research. We do know that that's a major challenge we have in terms of people trying to graduate on time and they try to jump certain protocols required to do quality research. People also feel that they don't have the resources to conduct the research and also try to do a kind of cut and join approaches. This is what the University of Nigeria will not wish our students to do, because we are also thinking that they publish some of these studies in good journals. And if you are to do that, then you have to follow the principles guiding conducting quality research. So I'm going to summarize that. I know most of us have been exposed to research ethics, but I'm just going to summarize that in one or two slides. There are three basic principles in research ethics. One is respect for human person. They will come in different ways. Second is beneficence. They come also in different ways. And the third is justice. The respect for human persons, in terms of you need to maybe get informed consent, making sure that those who are going to participate in your studies have agreed to participate, especially when you are dealing with human beings. You also need people to understand what they are doing. You also need people to volunteer, and they have at every point in time to stop, to withdraw from participating in the study, especially when we are dealing with human participants. We also have issue of privacy and confidentiality. When you needed those, it's not when you finish conducting your research, you want everybody to know who said this and who did not say it. Sometimes they also go back to maybe issue of justice, safety and security of the human person, or even animals. Those also who conduct animal research have some basic principles they must adopt before they do that, including when you have also completed the study. The way you dispose the animal is also very critical to us in research, because they're also treated with a kind of dignity, because they also yes. So the animal doesn't mean they have no rights. So this is also very important, and you should learn it within your own discipline. The way to conduct studies with animals, the safety of the animals, the security of animals, both for humans and others, and also potential harms to your participants. Assuming that you are conducting a research among secret court groups, and when you complete that study, you have known them. But because of the ethics involved in research, you may not be allowed to identify or to expose them to the authorities. That's a big question for all of us in research. But as a researcher, you cannot do that because you have gotten the informed consent. Confidentiality is there. So research is for research purposes. And security, those in security and police can also do their job. But you cannot be commanding a job as a researcher as well as a security personnel. So you need to know the boundaries. Some of these things are very important. In terms of justice, you also needed also to understand the benefits of your research and as well the harm and burden. If the risk is so much that outweighs the benefit, you may need to reconsider that type of research. Good enough, recently the university has established a research ethics committee, and I think last week or so it was inaugurated, and I'm privileged to be part of that committee. And I think in the coming weeks, we'll be streamlining some of these things so that before you conduct your research, you may require an ethical clearance so that we'll be able to look at what we tend to do, what the implications to human person and to animals, so that once you start it, you follow the exact laid down approval, so that you are going to come out with a quality research that has less damage to all of us and will have more benefits. Okay. In terms of application, how you do go about this? Principle of respect for persons is very important. First is initial and continued informed consent. At the beginning of every of your studies, you need, first of all, in short, if it's a survey, for example, and either you have a written consent or oral consent, you need to tell people that this is the nature of the study and if they have accepted to participate. And as the research is also going on, there may be also from time to time to ask people if they wish to continue. So need for withdrawal from the research at every point in time, you need also to remind them, especially when there is maybe element of commitment from the participants, assuming that it requires longer hours and you have finished study one in one day and you want to continue. You need at every point to ask them, if you feel that you can withdraw at this point, maybe you will be allowed to withdraw. Maintain the welfare of each of the participants. This is very important. It's challenging that if you are, for example, to deprive people, you need people to travel from their villages to attend a focus group discussion. They need to pay for it. You may need to think about how you compensate them for that transportation. Or you can decide because they need to transport themselves, instead of asking them to come to one place, then you can now visit them to reduce the burden on them. Some of these things are very important. Principles of beneficence, in terms of social and scientific value of the research. This is very important, starting from the experiment conducted by the Nazis and others. In as much as some research may have a lot of scientific value, but you also needed to also look at the burden on individuals. Some type of studies are no more possible in today's world. A lot of agreements have been reached in the past by researchers on minimum standards required for conducting such a research. Even if the scientific values are high, you may also look at the implication to the human person and the society. So these are very, very important. So also the kind of scientific validity of the research. The design is very important. So when you are submitting your research for ethical clearance, you need to tell us the exact design you want to do, how many people are supposed to participate, how long will it take them, where are you going to select these participants, how are you going to protect the integrity of the whatever, and how are you going to protect the individuals, especially when it is a special population. The principles of justice in terms of first subject selection, inclusion and exclusion. Let me use my discipline as an example in psychology. We are doing an intervention study to select people who are depressed. And they are going to administer an intervention to train them on how to manage depression. Although you have succeeded in doing this research and you are confirmed that that intervention is working, at the end of the research, you may need to do something about those who did not succeed in participating, by giving them also opportunity to get help. As we that identified also among those who did not participate that are depressed. You may also give them a need to be fair to need to do that. Then those in Vietnam